Alright, what's going on, you guys? Welcome to Real Madrid Hub. Again, I'm your host, Dr. Jota, and today, as usual, we will be talking about Real Madrid, all the things regarding to our favorite team, Real Madrid, and all the stuff that happened yesterday with the draw and the UEFA Champions League, that huge scandal that to me, it's completely made up. I mean, this is just my opinion, but these guys from UEFA, man, are such a corrupted guys that in my opinion, that should have never happened. I mean, that kind of things should have been prepared way up front so nothing like that can happen whatsoever. But it happened. And now Real Madrid, I mean, when we first saw we were going to play against Benfica, and then we were told the whole draw, it was going to be repeated, and then we saw how we were going to face off. We were going to play against PSG. The PSG was the new opponent, the new rival. It was like, man, these kind of things, it's like, it's nuts. I mean, the problem is, it's all the time the same, you know? These kind of things, these kind of weird things, this kind of mandatory stuff, like even when they already had the Real Madrid ball on hand and all that stuff happened later on, Real Madrid was included in the new draw. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you already have the ball of Real Madrid and Benfica, that's okay. Just keep them clear to those teams. That's it. And then if you have to include new balls, new teams, stuff like that, that should be, I'm okay with that. I get it. I understand. But it should be just the balls of the teams that are already involved, engaged in the situation, right? For example, say Manchester United, Liverpool, Atletico de Madrid, all the stuff, but not Real Madrid that was already out, and Benfica either. But it's okay. I mean, as you probably have watched it in different newspapers, media, stuff like that, there was a hard talk between Real Madrid and UEFA, but apparently Real Madrid finally will play against PSG and doesn't want any kind of, I mean, they don't want to, Florentino Perez doesn't really want to appeal the decision or try to take it to the court in somehow, whatever. I mean, Real Madrid will play. We complained though, I mean, we complained in front of the most highest persons or representatives of UEFA yesterday, but it didn't really work, right? So to me, there's so few you can do about that, right? So the best way for you is maybe to say, okay, let's play, that's it. So that is what is going to happen in the next month of February when we first have to play against PSG in, I think it's in France, and then the second game is going to be in Santiago Bernabeu. But all this stuff has had a lot of consequences. And the first one and most important is about Kylian Mbappe. But that is the story I have for you all guys for the end of the video. For now, I will be talking about maybe arguably the most important stories aside of this whole thing, this whole stuff with UEFA. And let me start off with Pedro Porro, just because as you probably have heard over the last 2 months, Pedro Porro has been the player chosen by Real Madrid to be signed as the new right back of Real Madrid. I mean, as you know, in that position we only have Dani Carvajal, and of course we are in need of more players like Dani Carvajal, and of course Pedro Porro was the chosen one, the player that we had chosen for that position and stuff like that. But apparently now that is not going to happen, and it is because the player has already renewed his contract with Sporting de Portugal, just because Sporting has bought the rights, has signed indefinitely to Pedro Porro to Manchester City. I mean, the owner was originally Manchester City, but now it's going to be Sporting de Portugal after paying, let me see if I find it here. Okay, it's 8.5 million euros for Pedro Porro. So he will belong to Sporting de Portugal. So if Real Madrid wants to go ahead and sign this player, we'll have to pay more money to Sporting de Portugal. But let me tell you what, this player is signing a new contract until 2025. And I don't think Real Madrid will wait that long. So my opinion is Real Madrid will try to find another similar player in the market, whether in January transfer market or maybe in the summer market. But of course, Pedro Porro will not be for now a Real Madrid player. So now let's move on and let's keep talking about more possible signings, because as you can see here, I'm gonna mute the channel of Fabrizio Romano. Fabrizio Romano last night delivered this kind of Rüdiger update and situation and all the stuff, and he was pretty much talking about the possibility for Rüdiger to come to Real Madrid and play. But before to say so, he said Rüdiger is so happy in London, he's so happy in Chelsea, but the only problem is Chelsea is not able to throw on the table a decent amount of money, a decent offer to renew the contract of the German player. So that being said, Real Madrid is waiting for this huge opportunity to sign up this player for the next season in the same way we signed in David Alaba last year, for free. So that is pretty much the point here. Real Madrid wants to save a lot of money, and whatever the player comes into Real Madrid to play, whatever the player, whatever the signing, whoever it is, Real Madrid, of course, will try not to pay a single euro in any kind of transfer fee or something like that. So according to Fabrizio Romano, Rüdiger wants to stay in Chelsea, but if Real Madrid is waiting for the opportunity, as soon as they know, as soon as we learn, as soon as Real Madrid hears the Chelsea quit, the Chelsea stop any kind of offer or will not throw any other offer on the table for Rüdiger, then Real Madrid will go ahead and try to offer the player whatever it is, maybe a 12 million salary or whatever. But let me tell you what, Real Madrid already had a meeting with the brother and agent of Antonio Rüdiger. So to me, it's a kind of done deal, and that is something we already knew like 1 week ago. So it's not anything new. It's not a breaking news or stuff. What Fabrizio Romano said is because we already knew he was going to have a meeting. The brother of Antonio Rüdiger, he was going to have a meeting with Real Madrid crew, people, representatives, or whoever it is. So to me, pretty much, Antonio Rüdiger is pretty much done deal, and that is something we will learn really soon. So now let's move on and let's keep talking about the exclusive news Eduardo Indal delivered last night in El Chiringuito. The first one is about the recommendation, the suggestion Carlo Ancelotti has made to Real Madrid about Tolisso. Tolisso is the Bayern Munich player. Is a player to whom Carlo Ancelotti signed in years ago when he was coaching to Bayern Munich, which is great. It's good. It's a player that he already knows. It's a player he wants to land in Real Madrid. And the player is pretty much, he's 27 years old, midfielder, is a very good player for that position. And of course, the best of everything is he would sign in for free. It's the same thing with Paul Pogba, same thing with David Alaba, same thing with Antonio Rüdiger. The best of that is you don't have to pay a single euro for any kind of transfer fee or whatever. So the only thing you have to do is to offer a good salary to the player. That's it. The problem with this player is he was so important. He was much more important in the past for Bayern Munich than he is right now. Actually, the player right now is not playing. Normally, he never plays in the lineup. He normally comes on from the bench, right? So that is the reason why Carlo Ancelotti believes, guesses that this player might work for Real Madrid, because right now he's losing a lot of spotlight. He's losing a lot of importance within Bayern Munich. So he would work for Real Madrid. So I don't know, man. I didn't hear about that before, and maybe it's a player that Carlo Ancelotti would be okay with if we go ahead and sign him, but I don't know. That is something that Eduardo Inda claims, and I don't know. Let's wait a little bit more and see what happens. Some people say he might be the perfect replacement for Casemiro. So Now let's move on and let's keep talking, of course, about, in this case, Erling Haaland, because according to Eduardo Inda as well, Raiola is trying to accelerate everything with Erling Haaland, and the only reason for that is because, as you know, Borussia Dortmund has been eliminated from Champions, right? So Erling Haaland is no longer playing in this Champions League year, so he will stay at home, and that is unacceptable for a top elite, for a top athlete like Erling Haaland, for a top soccer player like Erling Haaland. So that's why what Mino Raiola wants to happen is pretty much to pull him out from Borussia Dortmund and land him right quick in another top team in Europe. And that one should be Real Madrid. And why am I saying Real Madrid? Well, it's pretty much because Eduardo Inda really thinks Erling Haaland already has a deal, contract, pre-agreement, pre-contract, whatever you want to call it, with Real Madrid, or at least Erling Haaland has already chosen to Real Madrid as his next destination, right? So that's why a lot of people out there are claiming Erling Haaland will play for Real Madrid. But the most important for Raiola, for Erling Haaland and all the stuff is to keep the player in the Champions League with whatever, with whoever the team, whatever, Manchester City, Real Madrid, or whoever it is, right? So that's why Eduardo Inda claims Mino Raiola wants to wrap this whole thing up and right quick, because he needs this player still competing, still alive in the top competitions of Europe. And of course, the Champions League is the highest competition you can compete in, right? So I don't know what is going to happen, but to me, according to the information that Mario Cortegana a couple weeks ago and Eduardo Inda and Pedrerol are claiming all the time, and Ciro Lopez as well, Erling Haaland has already chosen to Real Madrid as his next destination. So let's see what happens. But the most important, guys, and now let me move on and let's go ahead with the last story I have for you all, guys, is pretty much the agreement, the deal Real Madrid and Kylian Mbappe apparently have had on this whole thing of the scandal of the draw last night in the UEFA Champions League. It's pretty much both of them will not talk about that. Actually, Kylian Mbappe has not reacted yet to the situation that happened last night in the UEFA Champions League draw. Has said anything. And that is because, apparently, according to Eduardo Inda, Real Madrid has already spoken with Kylian Mbappe, maybe a phone call or meeting or whatever it is, or just a text message or whatever, and has said to Kylian Mbappe not to say anything. Nothing. The problem with this is, as soon as we learned Real Madrid was going to play against PSG, a lot of articles came out from different news, media, papers and stuff, claiming that and this is a very funny story, that Kylian Mbappe might be playing against Real Madrid when already had signed a contract, a pre-agreement with Real Madrid. Being already a Real Madrid player. You know what I'm saying? So if Kylian Mbappe signs a pre-agreement as a free agent with Real Madrid in January, and then you have to go and play against Real Madrid with PSG, that would be a kind of, funny situation, right? Because you have a player who already has signed a contract with Real Madrid playing against Real Madrid. So apparently Real Madrid doesn't want any kind of beef or controversy with Paris Saint-Germain. So that's why it's suggesting to Kylian Mbappe not to say anything. But it's not because of us. It's because of the player. Because he has to go back to Paris and live there and play there and train there and all the stuff. So Real Madrid really wants to protect the player from Al Khelaifi Leonardo and all the media and the controversy that can or might be produced just because the whole thing, then the whole situation, right, is weird, it's strange, but it's going to happen, right? Because to me, Kylian Mbappe will sign a contract with Real Madrid. But now what they are saying and this news is from L'Equipe, I think. Apparently, Real Madrid is changing the plans. And right now, let me find it really quick. And right now, Real Madrid might reconsider when to sign Kylian Mbappe in, and they might postpone the signing of Kylian Mbappe for, this was from Diario Marca maybe, to postpone the signing of Kylian Mbappe for March and not January, right? So I don't know what is going to happen, but this has been a major, huge scandal, whatever you want to call it, and of course has had a lot of consequences for the deal between Real Madrid and Kylian Mbappe. Let me refresh this stuff. No, it's not here either. Where did I see this? I think it was Diario AS. Yeah, here it is. Change of plans with Kylian Mbappe. Real Madrid is waiting to be more cautious and let the secret firm of the contract, for respect to PSG, for right after the March the 9th. So that'll be crazy. It doesn't make any sense. To me, Real Madrid should sign the player right quick. And I don't really care about the eliminatory. I don't really care about what Al Khelaifi can think about, or maybe just what Leonardo can do against Kylian Mbappe. Come on. They are not going to kidnap to the player, of course. So what is the worst thing can happen? What is the worst case scenario? My opinion, it doesn't exist. So it's just the controversy, everybody excited about to see Kylian Mbappe playing against Real Madrid and all the stuff, but nothing is going to happen in reality. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That is my opinion, guys. Now I'd like you to drop your comments in the section below, and of course, subscribe my channel, Real Madrid Hub.